Essential traffic rules, reducing risks when operating a vehicle, Part 1. You will frequently come across circumstances when driving where you are exposed to higher levels of risk than usual. This could be due to other drivers, the state of the road, terrible weather, or any combination of the above. You must modify your driving habits to keep both you and other road users safe, regardless of how much the risk has increased. We'll discuss these risky driving scenarios later on in the video and show you how to minimize the risks they provide. Here, we give a brief overview of these difficulties and go through some of the safety regulations you must follow while driving. Highway driving risks should come first. Risks of highway driving. Highways, freeways, expressways, toll roads, turnpikes, or controlled access roads are all terms for multi-lane, fast roads. Drivers may swiftly and somewhat easily move between various neighborhoods, cities, and states thanks to these congested arterial roadways. Without this kind of route, our highway transportation system could not exist. Highways provide for faster travel because linked, smaller roads have less access to them. Drivers can only enter an expressway at approved interchanges. Drivers driving a limited access highway can continue moving quickly as other drivers enter and exit because there are no traditional same-level crossings to cope with. Highways rank among the safest roads in the U.S. in several respects. Sadly, high speed by itself is synonymous with high risk. Despite all the precautions taken to safeguard drivers utilizing these roads, speeding up certain risks. For instance, driving quickly causes make it harder to detect potential hazards. Increase the distance a driver must travel in order to halt, as well as the time it takes. The frequency and severity of any mishaps or accidents. Because automobiles are typically sandwiched between lanes of moving traffic, using high-speed limited access roads is even riskier. If something goes wrong, you might not have enough room to avoid a collision. Regulations for safe highway driving. One of the easiest methods to guarantee a smooth highway drive is to plan your trip in advance. You will be able to concentrate on maintaining control of your vehicle, regulating your speed, and scanning the road for hazards if you know exactly where you are going and when you must exit. You also need to be aware of the proper way to access and exit highways, how to prevent highway hypnosis, and other risky highway driving behaviors. Arriving on a highway. It is legally compulsory for drivers who are approaching a roadway to give the right-of-way to oncoming traffic. You must merge onto the highway only when there is a safe distance between vehicles, matching your speed to that of the oncoming highway traffic by using the acceleration lane. Selection of a highway lane. According to their intended speed, drivers must decide which lane on the highway to use. The left-hand lane should be used for the fastest traffic, and the right-hand lane for the slowest. Except when you must travel significantly more slowly than other drivers or when you are entering or leaving an expressway, it is often safest to stay in the left-hand lane. To create place for new vehicles joining the expressway in the right-hand lane, move into the center lane as much as you can. If a car is trailing you or is rapidly approaching behind you, merge right so that they can pass you. Maintain your course and speed if it is not safe to merge to the right. Do not accelerate. Leaving a road. Nothing is more crucial than forethought when exiting a limited access highway. Never attempt to cross multiple lanes at once. Instead, be sure to know where your exit is and keep an eye out for guiding signs that point to it as it approaches. In this manner, you can gradually move into the proper exit lane without putting yourself or other drivers in risk. On motorway exit ramps, pay close attention to any signage indicating suggested and required speed limits. You must have slowed down to a safe speed to safely merge with other traffic on the new route by the time you reach the end of the ramp. Resecuring from highway hypnosis. Limited access highways are an example of a long, straight, high-speed route where highway hypnosis can happen. These roads also have little to no landscape and few distractions. The monotony of the driving experience on these roads can make you tired or let your mind wander. Highway hypnosis can prevent you from recognizing and averting problems, which makes it extremely dangerous. Defend yourself from hypnosis on the road by fewer than 8 hours a day spent driving. Take longer and more frequent rests if you need to drive for longer than this. At least every 100 miles or every 2 hours, take a rest. Stretch your legs by stepping outside the vehicle. Continue to move your gaze as you scan the road. Do not fixate on any one area of the road. Other routes for highway driving safety. Finally, remember the following safety advice. Avoid the blind zones of other vehicles. When passing through them, You might have to, but keep moving. Leave the window half open if the weather permits to bring in fresh air and stay awake. When moving quickly, avoid using wireless communication devices like cell phones because even a brief period of distraction could be fatal. Driving after dark. Even on well-lit and otherwise secure stretches of road, driving at night is always riskier than driving during the day. Driving at night not only results in poor sight but also increases your chance of being tired or driving alongside others who are. When at all possible, avoid driving at night. Nevertheless, if you must, keep the following guidelines in mind. Turn on the headlights. In all states, it is required to have your headlights on while driving anytime between sunset and sunrise. You should review the regulations for night driving in your driver's manual because you might need to be aware of some state-specific regulations. For instance, in Texas, drivers must use their headlights from no later than 30 minutes after nightfall to 30 minutes before sunrise, or if other conditions impair vision to fewer than 1,000 feet. When driving around other traffic, keep your low beams on. High lights are capable of blinding other motorists or pedestrians and resulting in a collision. Most state driving rules include guidelines for using high beam headlights. For instance, in Pennsylvania, it is illegal for drivers to be on their high beams within 300 feet of a vehicle they are following or 500 feet from an approaching vehicle. Avoid staring directly into the headlights of other vehicles. Even if the other driver is using their low beam headlights, staring straight into the light might temporarily impair vision. Avert your sight to the lane markers on the right side of the road until any approaching vehicles that don't turn off their highlights have passed. When stopped on a dark road, keep your lights on. Always leave your parking lights, low beams, or danger lights on if a vehicle issue, exhaustion, or another circumstance requires you to pull over on a nighttime, dimly lit highway so that other drivers are aware of your presence. Essential traffic rules reducing risks when operating a vehicle Part 2. During the winter. When driving in icy conditions, drivers run serious and complicated dangers. If there is water, snow, or ice on the road, your vehicle will have less traction and be more difficult to stop. Falling snow and rain can also make it considerably more difficult to see the road ahead and identify impending dangers in time to take action. If the roads are covered in snow or ice, you must always drive with extreme caution. Reduce your speed and keep as much space as you can around your car because it can take you longer to stop than usual. You can avoid issues when driving in winter conditions by following these safe driving guidelines. Think about installing chains or snow tires on your car. Remember that many states forbid the use of snow chains due to the risk of harm to the road surface. If these limitations apply in your region, they will be described in your state's driving manual. When possible, avoid driving over shady areas. In the shade, ice and snow on the road will melt more slowly, making certain spots more slick than others. Black ice should be avoided. It is nearly hard for drivers to perceive thin coatings of ice. During the winter, it's imperative to drive slowly. Maintain window cleanliness. Your view of the road will be limited by dirty windows. In most jurisdictions, it is also necessary to remove all snow and ice from your car before you can drive. If your windows start to steam up while you're driving, open them. Emergencies and problems. Every motorist eventually has to deal with unforeseen emergencies or mechanical issues. You have control over your own behavior, but you have no control over other drivers' behavior, and even new, well-maintained cars can break down suddenly. Your life could depend on it, so you must always be prepared. The most important thing to remember when faced with a driving emergency is to remain calm. Usually, drivers who react in a panicked, blind terror to an unforeseen hazard worsen the situation. Always pause for thought before acting and do so thoughtfully. When skids happen. Skids happen when one or more of your tires are unable to maintain traction on the ground. When your car starts to slide, you should steering the vehicle in the skid's direction. Release the accelerator pedal. The skid could get worse if you slam on the brakes. If you move too far to the right when avoiding a hazard or a dangerous motorist, your tires can come off the pavement. This may also occur if a sleepy motorist becomes disoriented and drifts from their lane. You might be surprised by the sudden shift in the texture of the ground beneath your wheels, especially if the shoulder and the road are at different levels. If any of your tires veer off the pavement, Avoid veering back toward the road as this could send your car spinning out of control. Remove your foot from the gas pedal to slow down. Avoid braking quickly. Reverse your car slowly back onto the road once you have slowed to a safe speed. Make sure there is enough space in the traffic. Managing brake deficiency. While brake failure is terrifying, if managed properly, it shouldn't be a disastrous catastrophe. Remove your foot from the accelerator and downshift into a lower gear to slow down if your brakes fail. You can use the parking brake after you've slowed down somewhat to stop the car completely. Avoid doing this too quickly since it could send the car into a skid. Flat tire or blowout. When compared to other mechanical problems, losing a tire while driving happens quite frequently. The likelihood of your tires blowing out will be reduced if you take care of them and keep them properly inflated. Remember that hot weather and poor road conditions increase the likelihood of tire malfunctions. Keep your cool if your tire blows out. Step off the gas to slow down, then direct your car to the side of the road or another secure stopping location. Moving your vehicle off-road. You must pull your car over to the side of the road whenever an electrical or mechanical issue arises that makes it impossible or incredibly difficult to continue driving safely. Do not keep driving the car if you are unable to fix the issue. When parked on the shoulder or by the side of the road, your car creates a danger for other motorists. You must be as visible to oncoming cars as possible to stay safe. In case your emergency lights are not operational, turn on your taillights. You should also turn on the inside lights of the vehicle when stopped at night. Affix a white or visibly colored cloth to your car's door or antenna so that other drivers can see it. This suggests that you need help because you are having issues. If you are unable to move your vehicle off the road, you should surround it with flares, cones, or another warning object. All passengers must leave the car and wait at the side of the road for help. Hill climbing dangers. You must overcome the pull of gravity on your car when driving up a high hill. When you're traveling down a steep hill, this force could make you speed up or lose control. Keep your car in a low gear and keep your foot lightly on the brake pedal to prevent this. This should stop you from accelerating too quickly and make it simpler to brake if you need to slow down. Drivers should be aware that coasting downhill in neutral or by slipping out of gear is prohibited in almost all jurisdictions due to its extreme risk.